Twój przewodnik po świecie języka angielskiego. Dzień dobry, witam serdecznie w kolejnym odcinku podcastu Twój przewodnik języka angielskiego. Podcast otrzyma teraz nową odsłonę i nieco odmienną formułę. Teraz będziecie otrzymywać odcinki z podziałem na poziom ich zaawansowania. Już w tytule oznaczony będzie poziom językowy i odpowiednio będzie to A, B lub C. Będziecie mogli więc wybrać sobie tę dawkę wiedzy, która będzie odpowiednia dla waszego poziomu zaawansowania. Zwykle uczący się wiedzą, na którym są poziomie. Jeżeli zaś nie, to dawka wiedzy, jaką będę wam przedstawiać, szybko określi także wasz poziom. Jeżeli będzie to coś zbyt trudnego, to przejdź do poziomu niższego. Jeżeli zaś zbyt łatwego, no to do wyższego. Jeżeli w dalszym ciągu będziesz miała problemy z określeniem i dobiorem, zapraszam do kontaktu ze mną. Obecny odcinek opowiada o historii jakże popularnego święta w Stanach Zjednoczonych. Święta Dziękczynienia. Z odcinka dowiecie się, jaka była historia jego obchodów i dlaczego jest tak ważne dla Amerykanów. I teraz nowość właśnie. W podcaście tematyka Świąt Dziękczynienia omówiona jest na 3 poziomach zaawansowania A, B i C. I macie tutaj możliwość wybrania tej części podcastu, na jakim jesteście poziomie, która jest na poziomie adekwatnym dla waszego właśnie poziomu zaawansowania językowego. Czyli możecie wysłuchać tego tekstu odpowiednio na poziomie A, B lub C. I co więcej, macie także możliwość pobrania kart pracy i sprawdzenia słownictwa. A jaki poziom należy wybrać? Tak jak już mówiłam, musicie spróbować odbrać go sami. Według badań zaś optymalnie jest, kiedy nowe dla nas jest około 20% wiedzy. Wówczas możemy tę wiedzę nadrobić i przyswoić. I wtedy rozwijamy się. Niezależnie od poziomu jednak warto jest zrozumieć i poznać, dlaczego Amerykanie obchodzą Święto Dziękczynienia. Level A. Poziom A. Thanksgiving is a special day in the United States, and some people think it's even more important than Christmas. In America, there is a rule that says the government and religion should be separate. Christmas is a Christian holiday, but Thanksgiving is for everyone. It is a day to say thanks for what you have, and many people like that it's not about buying presents. Thanksgiving is a day when families come together. You don't have to worry about buying gifts. You just spend time with the loved ones. It's a simple and happy time. On Thanksgiving, America kind of stops for a while. People take a break from their usual busy lives and focus on being grateful. A long time ago, in 1620, a small ship called the Mayflower came from England to America. On board, there are some people called pilgrims. They wanted to worship God in their own way and have a better life. The journey was tough, and they landed in a place called Plymouth instead of where they had planned. The pilgrims faced a hard winter with not enough food, and many got sick. But with the help of a Native American named Squanto, they learned how to grow crops and survive. Squanto had been kidnapped before and he was taken to Europe. But he returned and helped the pilgrims because he had learned how to speak English. He showed them how to plant and fish, and they became friends. In 1621, the Pilgrims and Native Americans celebrated the first Thanksgiving. They thanked God for good crops, friends, and overcoming sickness. They had a big feast with turkey, geese, dogs, deer meat, pumpkins, fish, clams, oysters. It was a happy time. Thanksgiving wasn't a regular holiday at first, but later on, important people like President Abraham Lincoln made it official. Now, every year on the last Thursday in November, Americans celebrate Thanksgiving. It's a time for families to come together, eat a big meal with turkey, and say thanks for the good things in life. Some people even watch the president pardon a turkey, which means they let one turkey go instead of eating it. So, Thanksgiving is a special day that is not fancy. It's about being thankful and spending time with family and friends. People in America look forward to it every year, and it marks the start of the holiday season. Level B. Poziom B. We have to say that Thanksgiving is more important than Christmas for people in the United States. America has written in its constitution the separation of religion and state. And Christmas is a Christian holiday. The Thanksgiving holiday is a holiday that belongs to no one religion and is easily adopted by the millions of immigrants, settlers to the US of various religions. Also, the concept of gratitude for whatever one may be is a pretty universal one. What is more, this day is almost completely devoid of commercialization. There is no pressure to buy gifts, and the only expectation is to be around the loved ones and perhaps invite to one's table one more stranger who might otherwise be alone that day. It is also the only day when America really stops. Let's take a look now what the origins of Thanksgiving are. Over 300 years ago, a little ship, the Mayflower, sailed from Plymouth in England to Virginia in North America. The Mayflower had 102 passengers on board. They were a group of separatists, the so-called Puritans, who had broken up with the Church of England. They wanted to be able to worship God in their own way. Before they were able to do this, though, they had spent many years in exile in the Netherlands. And so, as soon as they could and got a plantation in South Virginia, they started making preparations to set out for the New World. They were rather poor themselves, and they had to borrow money for 7 years from a group of loan sharks in London. Finally, the Pilgrims, as they called themselves, began their voyage in autumn of 1620. The tiny ship fought many storms, and strong winds blew in Mayflower northwards. After 64 days of rough voyage, the Pilgrims, instead of finding the warm coast of South, saw the rocky coast of Massachusetts. On December the 16th, the Mayflower arrived at a place already named Plymouth and decided to settle there. The Pilgrims built simple cabins and huts to shelter during the coming frosty winter. They had never experienced such a cold before and suffered greatly. Nor had they ever experienced such sickness and starvation. Only 50 immigrants out of original 102 survived that winter. Despite all the difficulties, the survivors didn't want to go back to England, and the Mayflower returned to her homeland with no Pilgrims aboard. With the coming spring of 1621, new hope filled the hearts. The settlers set to work. They built 11 houses, 7 for families and 4 for communal use. With the help of an Indian named Squanto, they learned how to plant corn and barley. In the past, Squanto had been and sold for slavery in Spain. Fortunately enough, some monks saved him and taught him how to crop the land. He learned languages and the Christian faith. Thanks to the monks, he regained the trust of white people, but his desire to get back to his tribe never left him. He missed home and prayed to be able to return home. The monks helped him to fulfill his dream, but first, Squanto went to England and worked for a businessman called Slaney. The company of this businessman wanted to explore the trading opportunities with the new land. Since Squanto had learned English and could speak it fluently, he was sent to America to work as an interpreter. In 1619, he was able to sail back directly home. But his heart was broken when he saw that plague had ravaged people of his tribe and everybody had died. He was the only one to have remained. He was accepted by the neighboring Wampanoag tribe. And when news came to him that a group of European settlers had set up their camp on the very site of his former village, he felt the urge to meet them. They were English, pilgrims. He saw how they struggled to survive and how they prayed for hope. When he saw it, he wished to help them. With the blessing and consent of the chief of his new tribe of Wampanoag, he went to the pilgrims. At first, the settlers feared him, as they had heard of tensions with Indians, but when he started speaking in perfect English, the pilgrims were amazed and welcomed him in. In spring, Squanto taught the pilgrims what he had learned from his tribe as well as from the monks, how to crop and fertilize the land. He was also interpreting for them and helped to make peace with surrounding Indian tribes. Soon, Squanto lived with the pilgrims and in many ways became one of them. In this way, Squanto's broken heart healed just a little bit. And so, the white settlers made friends with Wampanoag Indians and even taught them to play games. The fall, the harvest was success, and the pilgrims could face the second winter with confidence. The first year of struggle in the new land had passed, and the brave settlers wanted to celebrate it with a real holiday. The governor of the Plymouth colony, William Bradford, proclaimed December the 13th, 1621, the day for giving thanks to God. On the first Thanksgiving Day, at dawn, the colonists fired a cannon. Then they formed a procession and moved to the meeting house. There they prayed and thanked God for good crops, Indian friends, overcoming sickness, and especially for the possibility of worshipping God in their own way. After the religious ceremony, they feasted for 3 days. Governor Bradford asked the Indians to be his guests. 140 people celebrated for 3 days, and a small group of the pilgrim housewives worked very hard to prepare meals for such a big company. The hunters brought supplies of wild turkey, geese, and ducks. The Indians brought deer meat and pumpkins. That's why pumpkins are both food and decoration on the Thanksgiving tables. They also had fish, clams, and oysters. They ate and drank, and in the meantime, the white men as well as the red men participated in various contests and games or competed in sports. Although the pilgrims' discipline was not so strict on those 3 days, they did not forget about prayers to thank God for the last good year. The next year, however, was to be another sad experience for the colonists. Because of the lack of food, they did not have a Thanksgiving feast the next fall. But in fact, without Squanto's help, the Pilgrims may not have survived the early time in the new land at all, and Squanto lived with them until his death. The following years of Thanksgiving were not held regularly. Finally, the Continental Congress established 8 days of Thanksgiving in the months of April, May, July, and December. General Washington proclaimed a Thanksgiving Day for the Continental Army on Thursday, December 18th, 1777. George Washington was elected the first president of the United States in April 1789. During his presidency, he announced a Thanksgiving Day twice, on November the 26th, 1789, and 6 years later. The next Thanksgiving Day was announced by President James Madison at the end of the War of 1812. President Abraham Lincoln was strongly suggested to make it a national holiday. In the result, the Thanksgiving Proclamation was announced by Lincoln on October the 3rd, 1863. President Lincoln proclaimed the last Thursday in November as Thanksgiving Day for the whole nation. Although the first Thanksgiving was celebrated more than 300 years ago, the intention and manner of celebration actually has not changed at all. This is a day of prayer and giving thanks. It is a strongly family holiday with whole families getting together with a traditional roast turkey as the main course. Pumpkin pie symbol the Indians give to the first colonists. After dinner, there are traditional games and contests. So, the last Thursday in November is a happy holiday, but primarily it is time for giving thanks. In American culture, Thanksgiving is regarded as being the beginning of the fall-winter holiday season, along with Christmas and the New Year. Turkey has become the cornerstone of Thanksgiving dinner, probably because this flightless bird is native to Northern America. An estimated 50 million turkeys are devoured in the USA every Thanksgiving, according to research by the University of Illinois. But one turkey each year is ceremonially pardoned by the US president. And there emerged also a relatively recent holiday tradition, which is Black Friday, falling the day after Thanksgiving. On Black Friday, retailers slash the prices on thousands of products to signal the start of the Christmas gift-buying season. Level C. Poziom C. In parsing the relative significance of Thanksgiving in comparison to Christmas within the American cultural milieu, it is imperative to delve into the constitutional tenets upholding the separation of church and state. The Constitution of the United States, a foundational document that crystallizes the principles of governance, underscores the importance of a secular state. Given this constitutional mandate, the Christian underpinnings of Christmas render Thanksgiving with its non-religious and inclusive ethos. This broad appeal allows Thanksgiving to seamlessly assimilate the diverse religious tapestry of the millions of immigrant settlers who have, over the years, contributed to the rich mosaic of American society. The very essence of Thanksgiving lies in the universal concept of gratitude, an emotion that transcends religious boundaries and resonates within individuals, irrespective of the faith. This universal theme not only fosters inclusivity, but also underscores the quintessential American value of embracing diversity. In contrast to the consumer-driven, commercialized nature of Christmas, Thanksgiving remains a bastion of simplicity, devoid of the pressure to engage in the materialistic ritual of gift-giving. The sole expectation is the shared camaraderie with loved ones, embodying the true spirit of communal harmony. The distinctive trait of Thanksgiving, one that sets it apart from the other holidays, is the ability to bring the entire nation to a collective pause. In a society perpetually in motion, Thanksgiving serves as a rare interlude, a day when hustle and bustle of everyday life yield to a collective introspection and shared moments of familial unity. This unique characteristic endears Thanksgiving to many as a day that offers not just respite, but a collective acknowledgement of gratitude. Turning the pages of history to over 3 centuries ago, we encountered the Mayflower, a diminutive vessel that embarked on a transformative journey from Plymouth, England, to the shores of North America. On board were 102 passengers, a group of separatists known as the Puritans. The aim was simple yet profound: to worship God in their own way, free from the constraints imposed by the Church of England. After enduring years of exile in the Netherlands, the Pilgrims, as they came to be known, secured a plantation in South Virginia, marking the commencement of the voyage to the New World. The tumultuous journey, fraught with storms and wind currents, veered the Mayflower off course, leading to an unexpected landing in the rocky coast of Massachusetts instead of the warm coast of the South. Undeterred by the inhospitable conditions, the Pilgrims, numbering only 50 survivors out of the original 102, resolved to establish themselves in Plymouth. The ensuing winter was harsh, exposing the settlers to cold temperatures, sickness, and scarcity of provisions. The Mayflower returned home bereft of pilgrims who, despite the adversities, were resolute in their determination to forge a new life in the New World. Spring of 1621 brought a semblance of hope to the Pilgrims, who, with newfound determination, set about building 11 houses for shelter and sustenance. The intervention of an indigenous figure, Squanto, kidnapped earlier for enslavement in Spain, but eventually rescued by monks, proved pivotal. Squanto's knowledge, acquired during his captivity, became a linchpin for the survival of the Pilgrims. Fluent in English, thanks to his sojourn in England, Squanto served as an interpreter and guide, imparting crucial agricultural techniques such as planting corn and barley. The story of Squanto, though fraught with personal tragedy, exemplifies the interconnectedness of diverse narratives in the forging of American story. His journey from captivity to interpreter, and ultimately an integral part of the Pilgrim community, symbolizes the complex interplay of cultures in the early days of European settlement in North America. As the Pilgrims and Wampanoag Indians forged a cooperative relationship under Squanto's guidance, the specter of starvation and sickness began to dissipate. The spring harvest of 1621 proved bountiful, marking a turning point for the Pilgrims. In gratitude for the favorable circumstances, Governor William Bradford proclaimed December the 13th, 1621 as a day dedicated to giving thanks to God, a precursor to Thanksgiving we celebrate today. The inaugural Thanksgiving, solemnized by a dawn cannon salute and procession to the meeting house for prayers, was a testament to the Pilgrims' resilience, the assistance of their indigenous allies, and their newfound ability to practice religious freedom. The subsequent 3-day feast, attended by both Pilgrims and Wampanoag, epitomized the harmonious coexistence of cultures. Pilgrim housewives, laboring diligently, presented a cornucopia of sustenance. wild turkey, geese, ducks, deer meat, pumpkins, fish, clams, and oysters. The symbolic fusion of indigenous and settler contributions laid the foundation for the diverse and inclusive Thanksgiving table we recognize today. Despite the sporadic observances of Thanksgiving in the years that followed, it was not until President Abraham Lincoln's proclamation on October 3rd, 1863, that the tradition was officially established. Designating the last Thursday in November as a national day of Thanksgiving, Lincoln sought to unify the nation during a tumultuous period, the Civil War. In doing so, he imbued Thanksgiving with a national significance, transcending regional differences and affirming the importance of gratitude and unity in times of adversity. In the annals of American history, Thanksgiving persists as an enduring tradition that encapsulates the essence of the fall-winter holiday season, symbolizing familial togetherness, gratitude, and the celebration of shared abundance. Thanksgiving stands as a cultural touchstone, resonating within the values of a diverse and dynamic society. The culinary counterpiece of Thanksgiving, the turkey, holds a particular resonance. Native to North America, this flightless bird has become emblematic of the holiday feast. According to research conducted by the University of Illinois, an estimated 50 million turkeys are consumed annually on Thanksgiving, an astronomical figure that attests to the centrality of this culinary tradition. In a whimsical twist, the President of the United States partakes in an annual ritual, the ceremonial pardon of a Thanksgiving turkey. This symbolic gesture, sparing one fortunate turkey from the culinary fate of its compatriots, has become a light-hearted tradition. Even amid the gravitas of presidential duties, this act of clemency injects a moment of levity into the national consciousness. Concomitant with Thanksgiving, a relatively recent tradition has emerged, the phenomenon known as Black Friday. Occurring on the day following Thanksgiving, Black Friday has evolved into a consumer spectacle where retailers slash prices on a myriad of products, heralding the commencement of the Christmas gift-buying season. In conclusion, Thanksgiving, with its historical resonance, cultural significance, and enduring traditions, occupies a unique position in the American psyche. Beyond its historical origins, it continues to evolve, embracing new rituals and customs while retaining its core values of gratitude, familial togetherness, and unity. As a prelude to the fall-winter holiday season, Thanksgiving encapsulates the spirit of a nation, reflecting the diversity, resilience, and shared values that define the United States. Mam nadzieję, że te teksty chociaż trochę pozwoliły Wam zapoznać się z historią Święta Dziękczynienia, o którym teraz coraz więcej słyszymy. Zapraszam na stronę www.monikapodbielska.pl w celu pobrania karty pracy z tekstem i słownictwem i poszerzenia swojej znajomości języka angielskiego. Zapraszam na kolejne odcinki. Pozdrawiam, Monika Podbielska.